Why would I want to work and lose all my state benefits? That doesn't make sense to me. My husband just told me that I need to get a job so that I could go 50-50 with him on bills. I get $1,200 in cash assistance and $3,700 in food stamps. He's telling me that, we need to go 50-50 because he's tired of having to pay all the bills and I don't do anything around the house. Why would I want to work and lose all my state benefits? You do the math. He wants to take away my cash assistance and I told him absolutely not. He's like, at least help me with half of that money put towards the bills. And I told him, no, I'm not going to do that. That's my money so I could have fun and do what I want to do. I also lied to him and told him that
now they are no longer eligible for food stamps. The change affects Cobb, Gwinnett, and Hall counties. Channel 2 Sophia Choi is live in Cobb County. And Sophia, this involves able-bodied adults who are now required to go to work.
So if you were on food stamps, you might want to listen to this. So not only is Trump making it to where if you receive food stamps, you have to work. You have to work a minimum of 15 hours a week. And then you'll be making too much and then they will cut you off. On top of having to keep receipts of everything that you use your EBT card for. Okay? You are going to get a limit of certain junk foods. A limit of certain junk foods if you get food stamps. How is this okay? Okay, you cannot tell me how much pop and how much chips I can get with my food stamp card. This is crazy. This is outrageous.
Hey yo, this Trump is not playing, man. Yeah, He making you go to work. Yeah, you gotta put them boots, tie them laces, get to work.
Here's the thing. It's mostly women who are upset about this. Why? Because a lot of them have gotten comfortable living off the system. No accountability, no structure, no plan to get off it. Just free benefits, year after year, with no questions asked. Now the rules are changing. Now there's a requirement to work, even just part-time. And suddenly, it's unfair. Suddenly, it's too much pressure. Let's be honest. There are thousands of women out here who've treated EBT and food stamps like a lifestyle, not a stepping stone. No more playing victim when you're just avoiding responsibility.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but the mama buying crab legs with her food stamps is not the end of the world, and she's not taking advantage of the system. The dad that's buying shrimp and steak with his food stamps, not the end of the world, nor is he taking advantage of the system. The mama that is letting her baby buy his or her favorite candy or cookies or some type of treat with her food stamps, not the end of the world, and she's not taking advantage of the system. When are we going to stop judging people? Okay, you take a 10-second window of seeing someone and say, oh my God, they're taking advantage of the system. They have food stamps and they can get crab legs. Well, I can't even afford crab legs, but you know what they might not be able to afford? They might not be able to afford not working 2 jobs to survive, okay? They might not be able to afford cake or cupcakes for their baby's birthday without those food stamps. They might not be able to afford that steak and shrimp or crab legs that they want to eat one time a year because it's their birthday without those food stamps, okay? And you know how I know this? Because I was that mom, okay? I was a 20-year-old single mom. I worked 2 jobs, okay? Listen, 2 jobs, 50+ hours a week. But by the time I paid rent to put a roof over my child's head, by the time I paid my car payment for a reliable vehicle to transport my child, by the time I paid my cell phone to be reachable for my child, by the time I paid the electric to keep the lights on for my child, by the time I paid the internet so my baby could watch TV, by the time I provided all of her basic necessities, diapers, wipes, clothes, shoes, etc., there was nothing left. I don't know how I would have fed her had I not had food stamps. And then all the soldiers will come in and say, oh, well, if you can't afford a baby, don't have one. Shit happens, Brenda.
Like, not even to discredit whatever she's saying, but like, I just want to point out there, like, you know, there's a lot of women out there on third world countries that are going through similar things and nobody's helping them, but they're making it work somehow. I don't know. I think these first world countries, bro, I guess the bills were high and yeah, working 50 hours a week, but some people don't even have jobs and they don't even have government assistance. And they have these kids they gotta feed, they gotta take to school, they have these bills they gotta pay, but yeah, they don't even have that helping hand. So I mean, I just gotta throw that out there.
Okay, I got pregnant. Now, if I would have aborted her, you would have told me I was a horrible human being because I ended a human life, right? But then I kept her, and because I needed assistance in raising her, I was also a terrible mother. See how there's no win there? So, hush for just a second. Stop judging people off of a brief 10 to 15 second window that you see of them living their life, and let them just enjoy the small things. Let them enjoy those crab legs. Let them enjoy the steak or the shrimp. Let that baby enjoy their cupcakes or their candy. Because in the grand scheme of things, what is it affecting your life that she swiped an EBT card for those things? Truly, what is it affecting your life?
So my husband just told me that I need to get a job so that I could go 50-50 with him on bills. I told him that I don't want to work because if not, I'm not going to get no more EBT or cash assistance. Why would I want to work and lose all my state benefits? That doesn't make sense to me. I get $1,200 in cash assistance and $3,700 in food stamps. You do the math.
Hey, yo, the entitlement in her ear is crazy. Crazy. Seems like she already calculated that ways to cheat the system. So she don't want to get a job because she don't want to lose her EBT and all that stuff, right? Her food stamps and all. But her man wants her to, you know, chip in on the bills, split 50-50 because he's struggling. But she's like, hell no, I want to enjoy my benefits. Damn. Like, wow. And she's saying all of this with confidence too. Now this is the other side into getting these state benefits, you know, like a lot of people just take them for granted and they're lazy. They're capable of working, but why would they if they're getting all these $1,200 in cash assistance and $3,700 in food stamps? Like, look at that. Why would you want to get a job? That's what I mean, yo. A lot of people are becoming lazy now.
He's telling me that, you know, we need to go 50-50 because he's tired of having to pay all the bills and I don't do anything around the house. So I told him, okay, you're lucky that you don't have to pay a dime for food because if not, then there would really be an issue. He wants to take away my cash assistance. And I told him, absolutely not. What am I going to stay with? He's like, at least help me with half of that money put towards the bills. And I told him, no, I'm not going to do that. That's my money so I could have fun and do what I want to do. I also lied to him and told him that I don't get no more child support because he wanted me to give him that money. And I told him no. I just told him that they dropped the case because the kid's children passed away.
She said she refuses to go 50-50 on bills with her own husband. And on top of that, she said if she gets a job, she'll lose her $3,700 in food stamps and $1,200 in cash assistance. Here's the thing. It's people like her that ruin the system for the people who actually need it. She's not struggling. She's strategizing how to avoid work. She's doing the math on how to keep the government money coming in, not on how to contribute to her own household. She literally admits she won't work because she doesn't want to lose her benefit.
Nail salons are no longer accepting your EBT card for payment. I just went and got my nails done, like I do every month, at the same nail salon.
This is what I'm talking about.
Okay, they accept all forms
She
of
tells
payment.
on herself.
There's a sign right on their counter. We accept all cards. My EBT food stamp card is a card.
You paying for your
I have
nails
used
with
this card
food
to
stamps?
pay for my nails, my lashes, my eyebrows, okay, for over 5 years.
What they got going on in Michigan?
I don't know who did it. I don't know if it was the card company they go through.
No.
I don't know if it was the state of Michigan.
The state of
I don't know if
Michigan,
it's
yeah.
them themselves, but they are no longer accepting your EBT card as a form of payment. So I had to call my boyfriend and have him wire me some money because obviously I didn't carry cash with me to get my nails done. It was $110 and I was going to use my EBT card. Wouldn't go through.
She talks like she is just
Called
always
it.
so
I
inconvenient.
have over $8,000 in food stamps. Okay, that's my balance. I have plenty.
She's got
But it was
plenty,
declined.
over
So,
$8,000 sitting on a food stamp
If you
card.
were
This is
like
crazy.
me and was using your EBT card for any kind of services at a salon.
Yo, that's wild. Using the food stamps. It says on that, like it's a food stamp, quotation mark. Using it to pay for your nails. That's wild. It's meant for food. Since when are your nails food? Damn.
She said salons are no longer accepting her EBT food stamps card as payment for nails, lashes, and other beauty services. And she actually asked, how can they do this? Here's the thing. Because EBT was never meant to fund your glam routine. It's for food, essentials, feeding your kids, not feeding your vanity. The fact that she's shocked by this shows just how far removed some people are from what assistance is actually for. If you're on government aid, the priority should be putting groceries on the table, not eyelashes on your face. It's this kind of entitlement that gives the whole system a bad name. There are families out here barely getting by, trying to make their benefits stretch just to survive. And then there's her, upset because she can't use taxpayer money to get a fill-in and a lash lift. To subsidize your spa day.
Some of y'all are so stupid you would put Simple Simon to shame. I want you to ask yourself, why are you so incredibly triggered by the fact that someone can have a bag of chips or a cookie? Why does that bother you so? Because let me ask you a question. People often get mad that people who get EBT benefits buy snack foods or they buy cookies or whatever, but then y'all turn around and get mad that they buy steak and shrimp. Like, do you want them to eat oatmeal and bologna sandwiches? Like, where does the line, like, where is the line drawn? Y'all get on my nerves. Y'all don't want children to have birthday cakes. Y'all don't want children to have treats. Most people on EBT are not going to the store buying a plethora of junk or snacks. They are getting food to sustain themselves. I don't know why y'all are so triggered by this and y'all are celebrating it. It starts with food. It always starts with food. First, they're regulating and telling us what we can and cannot eat. And then it gets worse. But y'all are too stupid to realize it's not about the food. It's never about the food. It is about control.
Hey, yo, she really triggered on that one, man. She really talking from her feelings. Yeah, she's really pissed off. Well, I can only imagine why. I'm assuming she probably was the one who was buying them junk food and steak and all that stuff.
Kiss my butt.
Able-bodied adults who are now required to go to work.
Okay, y'all. It has started. It has started. And the only reason why I stitched this video is so that I can bring a different perspective of what is happening. Now, if you don't know, from my understanding, starting in Georgia, it has started to where if you are an able-bodied citizen that has no dependents, you are now required to go to work or join a workforce program to prepare you to get into the workforce, and you are no longer allowed to have food stamps. So here's my testimony, just a small bit of my life. When I was 18 years old, my dad had a rule that if you're going to live in his house past the age of 18, because at that point you're grown, the responsibility of taking care of your child in that manner is no longer there. That I had to have a job and I had to financially contribute to the house. Or I had to be in college with a part-time job pursuing a career. I personally did not want to go to college, so I decided to do the work route. And I was working at a college in the cafeteria part-time. And I was paying the bills my dad had required, or like the amount that he required, but I didn't have much left over for me to begin building a life for myself. Little did I know, making that decision of keeping a part-time job and not pursuing a job that could make it to where I could eventually move out and afford to live on my own ended me homeless by my decision. Something was said to me to where I just chose to leave to respect my parents' home, and I ended up homeless at the age of 18. I share that little tidbit of my life to say this. My dad could have easily changed his requirements in his home and changed, took back what he said to me that made me leave, because I want to emphasize again, he didn't tell me to leave. I chose to leave because I didn't like what was said to me and I wanted to respect my parents. But he could have easily changed his regulations to make my life easier, but he didn't. That decision to leave my parents' house at 18 vaulted me into who I am today. When I left my dad's house, I was jumping from friends' houses to my grandma's house. It was like a good year and a half, I believe, that I was like technically homeless because I had no place to call home and I was living out of my suitcase. And then, I'll share the rest of the story another time if you guys would like. But long story short, I ended up living with my grandma and I ended up having my first big girl job with Wells Fargo and starting a career. So now let's bring what I'm trying to say full circle. A lot of people are seeing this situation of no longer being able to be on food stamps. Now, listen to the requirements. It's for the people who are able-bodied, meaning there's absolutely nothing wrong with you as to why you should not be getting up and going to work. And number 2, they have no dependents. So there's no scheduling reason, no babysitting. There's no reason why you should be getting food stamps and you're an able-bodied person with no dependents, okay? So for my people who are making this seem like a bad thing, I need you to stop. Because from my experience in life, when pressure is applied, you either crack and crumble, or you put pressure back and you get up and you do what you need to do to succeed. I don't know very many successful people who cracked under pressure. So if you're one of those people who food stamps is now being taken, God has to make you uncomfortable to get you to the next place in which he has for you to be. So see this as a blessing and a motivation to get off of whatever you're sitting on and get on your feet and start, putting back into society what you took, because that's other people being able to pay into the fact that you get food stamps. So you're paying forward back into what you took when you were on food stamps, and you're also building a life in which you can sustain for yourself to where you're not depending on the government to feed you. I'm gonna leave you with these last 2 things. Number 1, last I checked, the Bible says that those who do not work do not eat. And those who are lazy, poverty will jump on their back like a thief in the night. Look around you, with all you having being food stamps and whatever else you're doing to make money. Is that enough? Why are you okay with living with the bare minimum? Why are you okay living a life in which someone else can dictate whether or not you eat? Because right now you have set yourself in a situation that since the government said no more, you no longer have the financial stream that you need to feed yourself and your family if you have one. Don't ever get complacent in life depending on anything but God. I love y'all. That's it. That's all.
Man, I love the way she tied this up. Okay, she came through. She came through with this one. I like how she summed the end of this up, right? I agree with her 100%. What she said, yeah, definitely you gotta take matters into your own hands now. You have to get out of your ass. You cannot just be relying and depending on the government to look after your own ass. If you're capable, you gotta do it now. Otherwise you just get lazy there because somebody else is providing for you. So yeah, well said. Couldn't have said it better myself. Anyways, guys, that's a video. Leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you all thought about this. Are you guys for or against these EBT food stamp situation? Leave your comments down below. And yeah, like, subscribe, comment. See you on the next one. All right, peace.